So I actually have an unpopular opinion about this film. So make sure to watch this video till the end. And if you're new to this channel, you know what to do. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. Along with subscribing to the channel as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And in this lull period gave me an opportunity to, fill in the gaps and explore a few films that I actually missed out at the time, either of its theatrical release or its OTT release. And this Tamil film was one such film that I wanted to watch out for because it had Manikandan in the lead. The film that we are going to be talking about is Kudumbasthan. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Kudumbasthan, which essentially stands for family man. Family man. Now I had a lot of hopes from this film simply because Manikandan's previous two films, Good Night and Lover, I had absolutely loved. And I went in with a similar anticipation that, oh, this is going to be funny, this is going to be dramatic, and I would absolutely have a ball. And I came out a little underwhelmed. I mean, the comedy here definitely is a situational comedy, but it's a hit and a miss kind of a comedy for me. Now, I'm not sure whether this was the OTT effect or whether this was the lack of the communal experience that you would experience in a theater otherwise. But the comedy here essentially does not land. Now, coming to the story and screenplay, Kudumbasthan is essentially a satire of unemployment that takes place in the life of Naveen, which is played by character which is played by actor Manikandan. Sorry, but the one thing that is early on, highlighted in the film is the fact that so you are introduced to the protagonist Naveen and his to-be wife, and they go to an astrologer and the astrologer tells him that your life is going to be as breezy as spring. But the camera cuts to the dusty lanes in which the parents enter, and by the way, the to-be wife, or the wife rather, of Naveen belongs to the ST, the scheduled caste, and therefore, there is a conflict immediately in the family. That signifies, the conflict in the life of a middleman who has to deal with a lot, in terms of his family, in terms of his wife, in terms of his own parents, in terms of the income that he's earning. Unfortunately for Naveen, he tends to lose his job immediately after, making promises to his parents regarding the financial situation that his family is in. So, just to set context, Naveen is the only sole member of the family who's earning, and so his parents are dependent on him. His wife, is preparing for the UPSC examination, so she would be a point of support at some point in his life. But at the moment, he has to take care of her as well, and so being unemployed is the worst thing that could happen to the character of Naveen, which is shown here, which is why his character also I'm assuming, would be relatable to many people, especially belonging to the middle class here, because middle class is that section, where you are equated with the amount of money that you actually are earning. And I think that is the usefulness of a person, especially a male member in the family, is equated with that. And in that regard, I think the writing gets it right. However, I felt that the comedy surrounding it is a little inconsistent, I would say. While I was able to while the writing was able to get the few laughs in, I did feel that it was trying to overdo stuff as well. For instance, there was this entire sequence that was there of a loan that Naveen has to take for his family, and how he would actually have to deal with a loan shark who threatens to tell his family about how he would actually have to repay it. Otherwise, everything, he would reveal everything about the lies that he withholds about the unemployment status of Naveen. That, I think, was an interesting plot point that also led to a few laughs. But it went on a tangent far too long, with a cockfight out of nowhere. And I think that was the basic problem also of the film, because it tried to overdo a lot of things, in trying to land simple punches in a complex manner. And I think that may not have been required, because when it sticks to the basics, the drama actually works. The one thing though, I felt that the one thing lacking in the writing was that going from point A to point B, from one scene to another, it did not feel organic. It just felt like it was choppy. It just went from point A to point B in a very choppy manner. I'm talking between scenes, the transition between scenes were not really taken care of. And I think that again, eventually what it led to was the lack of emotions in the drama. The lack of emotions in the drama was a very big problem, because this was a heavy duty drama at the helm of things. This was not an out and out comedy. I mean, I'm all for comedy which is there, to deal with some satirical situation. I'm all for it. But when drama has to come to the fore, you have to allow it to come to the fore. You cannot just allow, the emotions to be curbed in the wake of humor, which also was a hit and a miss for me. I mean, it was not as if the humor was covering for the drama. It was a hit and a miss, absolutely a hit and a miss for me. Which did not really, come through. Another example that I can cite is, at the halfway mark, when when Naveen is dealing with his nagging brother-in-law, who has a ability to taunt him at every point. So to shift the expenses to his bucket, that was an interesting plot point. Even the events leading up to that was interesting, in which one of Naveen's friends has to disguise himself as the boss of Naveen to crack a deal with his brother-in-law. That was an interesting plot point. However, the diminishing bank balance of Naveen is really not really, it doesn't reflect on the pain, or angst that the character is going through. To the viewers is what I'm saying, he may be feeling, but it's not communicated to the viewer. And I think that was a bit of a problem for me. Even the second hour, it goes absolutely on a mayhem mode, it's absolutely a khichdi of sorts, with Naveen going to try one occupation to another, almost like trying his hand at bakery, to also a land deal that goes awry, all of these, just combined. But the problem with these were that you had already established the fact in the first hour about the unemployment part. So these were not really, raising the stakes in the drama. Neither were they, they were just getting repetitive after a point, and it just felt like, oh my god, this is the grip in the drama is getting lost. And this has more to do with the execution, which I'll get to in a bit as well. The equation, the dynamics between Naveen and his brother-in-law Rajendran was an interesting one, because both were dealing with similar situations. While one was suffering from an inferiority complex, the other was suffering from a superiority complex, and there were different people with the same type of a situation, and that dynamic, I think, was interesting. However, the dynamic between Naveen and his wife, left a lot of questions for me. She was, said to be preparing for the UPSC exam. How is she doing that? She was pregnant, by the way. She was looked upon as someone who's only in the kitchen and belonging to the SC, the scheduled caste, you can say. So when was she getting the time to prepare? There were no, justification about all these important plot points, because you actually wanted to have a payoff at the end with these facts, and I think that was not really right. The ending again was cliched. Yes, it was partly funny as well, but it was very cliched and convenient, and it kind of, didn't allow the emotions to actually hit me at all. So overall, I felt that the screenplay had its moments, definitely, but it was underwhelming for me. I mean, it was just me probably who found it underwhelming. I don't know, because I'd read quite a few good reviews of the film. I mean, it just didn't click. The film, I was trying to like it a lot, but it just did not click for me. I have to say what I have to say. coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music, and the direction, I think the dialogues here also had a bit of a problem of being a little loud with its pitch and tone. This is in terms of only the comedy that I'm talking about, because emotions, it was still devoid of it completely. The music was a mixed bag as well. It did not really elevate the emotions or do anything with that, and I think that was a big issue for me as well. The songs were just about average, I would say. Cinematography comprises of frames that were adequate, tried to showcase the financial situation or the economic situation of the protagonist, but they were just adequate. It didn't really back it up with the writing or the emotions that would actually translate that and break the fourth barrier as well. The editing was very patchy for me. At some places, it was quick editing, it was razor sharp, I would say, but it was too razor sharp for me. It actually did not allow the emotions to settle in at any given point in the drama, and that for me was a deterrent in watching this film that was there. Director Rajeshwar in his debut outing also fails in his execution. I mean, the idea of indulging in just a comedy, and that too a hit and a miss situational comedy, in the wake of a heavy duty drama that needed to be backed with emotions as well, was, I think, the downfall in terms of the execution of the plot. The writing was, I could sense that the writing was definitely there. There was a screenplay in place. On paper you would say this is a decently well written screenplay, but when it's translating into on screen, the execution is where the film falters, and I think that is the problem for me as well. Coming to the performances, I think the performances by most artists are pretty good here. I liked the character of S. Meghna, who plays the wife of Manikandan in the film. I think she was pretty sincere and earnest. Guru Somasundar, I think he was wonderful here. I mean, he plays, by the way, the main antagonist in Minnar Mulli, the superhero Malayalam film, Minnar Mulli starring Tobino Thomas. I think he was fabulous here with his body language, with his antics. Because this was a nagging and annoying character, he could so easily have gone wrong with it. But every time he comes in, he just makes you chuckle and chuckle and chuckle. He had an emotional arc which was better than that of the protagonist. And I think that was one of the problems also of the film, because the protagonist did not have a matching emotional arc, or it wasn't presented as an emotional arc. There was an arc, but it wasn't presented as an emotional arc. The key word is emotional here. Manikandan is a good actor. He's creating a niche for himself, and I'm really happy for him. I'm happy that the film also has worked at the box office for him. But I think this performance was good, but a little less, as compared to his previous two films, Good Night and Lover. I think he was very affable and very sincere in those films. This was a good performance, but it was let down by the writing and the execution, because it didn't allow his emotions to come to the fore. It was just brimming on the surface and never coming exactly, or translating on the screen. And I think that was it just curbed the character arc a little. So overall I felt that Kudumbasthan, it just is a middling kind of a drama. It's neither very good nor very bad. It's somewhere in between, but the situational comedy was a hit and a miss for me as well, but it was completely devoid of emotions, which I was actually looking forward to. The emotions needed to be there for a better impact. These are just my thoughts. I think it's an unpopular opinion because people are actually liking it. So let me know your thoughts on what was your perspective, and if there is something that I may have missed out as a reviewer, because normally my opinions are almost similar to what everyone's feeling, but this is an unpopular opinion. I can totally sense that, and if there's something that you can point out that I may have missed out, it will be a great discussion in the comment section. So make sure you point that out in the comments if you're liking this video or disliking, since an unpopular opinion, I don't know. Liking or disliking, you can just smash any of the two buttons, but make sure that you actually do that, to fuel the algorithm. You can share this video with your friends and family, ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. My full review of Kudumbasthan is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S. Double S is a brand, link of which is in the description box below. You can read it in your language, you can translate the review in your language as well. You can also follow me on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Letterboxd. I do not end up making a video on everything that I watch, but I did watch a wonderful show called Adolescence on Netflix. The full review, detailed review of that, you'll find on my site and on my social media handles with the caption. But I recommend you read the full review as well. That's a wonderful show that you must also watch. I'll see you again soon with another video. Till then, take care of yourselves and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.